We got some really cool news from Toyota. For 2025, Toyota is updating the GR Corolla. Probably the most fun car I reviewed the last year. Oh, it's so much fun! Like, seriously fun. Such a cool car, and now you can also get it as an automatic. However, I don't understand who would buy this specific car in an automatic. This is one of these cars that just feels like it needs to have a stick shift. But it's good that Toyota is releasing this with an automatic because not everybody enjoys, shifting themselves, but they still want to be able to experience this car. So we're going to have a look at their changes. The biggest changes happening, of course, as you can see right in the front end design, compared to the old one from a front, side, and rear, and also check out the interior. But before we jump into Photoshop here, let's have a look at this article from Car and Driver. So the 2025 Toyota GR Corolla with 8-speed automatic sticks it to the man. Once a manual-only special, the GR Corolla has now been given the hardware to appeal to buyers everywhere. That is why I think it's a good idea to put this, offer this as an automatic. Turbocharged three-cylinder is still intact, and it's stupendous 300 horsepower. But this sport compact car also makes 295 pound-feet of torque, which is a boost of 22 pound-feet. You have launch control and a few suspension tweaks here as well. They've added this 8-speed automatic transmission to the lineup. While a part of us cringes at this development, says Car and Driver, at least it wasn't done the other way around, so that they would skip the manual altogether. That would be a horrible decision by Toyota, so I'm glad that they did it this way. Fuel economy has not been released for the new transmission, but our experience is that more gears equal better MPG. But in my experience, manuals seems to have a better MPG than automatics, even though the automatic in this case has more gears. So I guess we're gonna have to wait and see here. So the torque output, as he said, has increased to 295 pound-feet, is merely the same output as the 2023 limited Morizo edition. They've just made this the standard now across every single 2025 GR Corolla. Front and rear limited slip differential option come with these as standard, of course. And you also have one of my favorite features of this car, the central GR4 torque settings. Before, we had 3 settings. You have 60-40, 50-50, or 30-70 distribution, power, front and rear. That has now been replaced with something that feels a little bit more natural and easy to understand. So you have normal 60-40, gravel 50-50, or you have track, which is variable from 60-40 all the way to 30-70. And this is a very cool idea because you can continuously change the torque settings if you go on track to figure out exactly what the distribution you want to have for this car. Addition of a sub radiator as well fitted behind the new front fascia. I like what Toyota did with this new front fascia. There's just one thing that I would like to keep intact from the old one that they switched up here. We're going to talk more about that in a minute. Adds additional engine cooling performance that extends the time the engine can be used on the track. Great news. This feature is standard on the highest grade but optional on the lower ones. You have 3 trim levels this year. On the bottom you have the core, and just above that you have the premium. Premium includes the usual things like JBL audio, GR logo, suede seats, dual zone climate control. You don't really need dual zones in a small car like this, but it's offered here. You have heated steering wheel and front seats, front and rear parking sensors, and front and rear fascia with functional air vents. The third level is called Premium Plus because most of the performance enhancing pieces have been moved to the core grade, and that is a really cool idea. No idea on pricing here yet, but the current one starts at $37,635. I also forgot to mention that the new Premium Plus gives you a forged carbon fiber roof, which I do believe you had on the Morizo edition. And you also have this very cool bulge on the hood with functional air vents, looking very, very cool. The sub-radiator, matte black wheels, a head-up display, and red stitching on the seats for the Premium Plus. So with that said, let's jump into Photoshop here. Let's check out what this new GR Corolla looks like and what the changes are for this design. I think they did a great job updating this car. They didn't do anything crazy. I don't think you need to do that with a car like this because it's such a special car from the beginning. So on the left here, you do have the old or the current GR Corolla right here from 2023, and on the right side, you have the brand new one. And the biggest changes are going to happen here in the front end. You can see how much more aggressive the new styling for the grille is. It extends all the way to this point now, creating a massive black graphic piece in the front end. However, the one thing that I would like to keep here from the old GR Corolla, you can also see that this is the Premium Plus, because we have this beautiful bulge up on the hood with the functional air extractors up there, looking very rally car-ish. I love that about this car. The one thing that I would like to keep from the old or the current 2023 Corolla is this piece right here. Look at the lower section here. It's black right here at the lower section, meaning that this graphic sort of melts in to the ground here. It doesn't have anything to hold it up. And what I mean by that is any bodywork at the very bottom to hold or frame the base for the front end like we had here. We did have this red lip at the previous 2023 model, which I think creates a very nice base for this big black graphic up top. Now it feels like it's just a waterfall of black going all the way down. I would like to have some sort of red lip spoiler down here at the bottom to have the same sort of feeling like we had in the 2023 model year. Big intakes in the front end. It looks almost robotic or industrial, these pieces, which suits this car because this is supposed to be a sort of a rally car that you can buy. It's not supposed to be very beautiful. Everything is supposed to be super functional. Up top though, when it comes to the headlights, I don't think we have any changes for that. We do have these slots here still intact, and the headlight itself, beautiful headlight by the way. Always been a huge fan of these headlights. Look exactly the same as you can see right here on the 2025 model year. Looking at the side view, usually, as you know, I'm not a big fan of black wheels, but in this case I think it looks absolutely fantastic, since everything else in the all around the car essentially is all blacked out. The graphic in the front, the graphic in the middle here, the side mirror, this graphic that we have right here is also blacked out. There is no silver or chrome pieces on this. That would just not suit this design overall. So having black wheels, and it looks like they are actually the exact same wheels like we had in 2023, which I think is good because these have these rally inspired, again, simple spoke design, thin spokes, just looks very, very cool in the side view. This body kit that we have on here looks like a wide body kit from factory, and I think that is so cool to put on a hatchback like this, and that it is being sold here in the United States. Usually manufacturers don't bring over these type of cool hatchbacks here, but this is selling really well, so I hope that other manufacturers look at this and the sales number that Toyota did with the GR Corolla and start to bring over more cool hatchbacks like this, specifically with a manual transmission. But we have a very nice line flow here, and we also have this beautiful shoulder line cutting down here that fades into the front end. This reminds me of the old Subaru Impreza hatchback front end. It looks very, very similar to that with the graphics. We also have this new piece. You can see right in front of the front axle. It's all body work here on the 2023 model year, but in the new one, they decided to add a functional air extractor vent here, which again just adds to this very cool rally style for this design. Now, last but not least, before we look at the interior, we do have a pretty similar rear end. I can't really see if there are any differences whatsoever in the rear end. I do believe it's exactly the same, and that is totally fine. What I've always loved about this rear end is, if you look at the new one here, we can take this for example. Actually, you can't really see the lines here, so let's check out this 2023. All these lines, they are pointing towards the logo in the center. So we draw all these lines out here. You can see this points here, then we have this line here pointing into the middle, and also this line pointing in, and the taillight unit, the line, if we extend these lines, also pointing straight to the middle. And we also have a nice chamfer up top here, again, just going right into the middle. So this is the focal point of the line flow that we have in the back, looking very, very cool. And last but not least, for the rear end, we do have still this integration of the diffuser sticking very high up, which I think looks cool, removing some of these masks that we have in the rear end, and the almost oval, I would say, shape for the center exhaust with a dual exhaust right here on the sides, looking super cool and very unique for the layout of the exhaust pipes. Now finally, looking at the interior here, I don't think I can see any changes, except for the big change here, of course, is that you now have paddles. If you want to, for your GR Corolla, you can have this with an automatic transmission. It feels pretty weird to say that, because the size of the packaging of this and the all-wheel drive and the power just feels like naturally this should have a manual transmission. But as I said, not everybody wants to shift their gears themselves, so now Toyota is offering this right there with the paddle shifters. Probably, I mean, I'm pretty sure this is still a very, very fun car to drive. Other than that, looks pretty identical. The screen size looks exactly the same. Thankfully, they didn't remove these physical buttons here. The integration of the gauge cluster looks beautiful as well on the new one. Do we have a new steering wheel? Maybe we might have a new style for the steering wheel. I'm not entirely sure. This looks sort of glossy and this looks a little bit more matte, but other than that, it looks absolutely the same as the 2023, and that is, again, a good thing. I loved this car when I reviewed it, and as I said, it was one of the most fun car I've ever driven, honestly, ever. People might think that 3 cylinders might not be enough, but I would suggest you go and test drive one of these and see for yourself that a 3-cylinder is definitely the right solution for this type of package. And I'm really glad that they kept it very conservative with the changes here, and I still think this is gonna sell really well for 2025.